We're alive. I actually forgot my drum. Will you grab my rainbow drum for me? That's the one thing I really do need. Welcome in and happy spring. Happy spring. It is spring officially today in the northern hemisphere, and it is fall in the southern hemisphere. So I got to wish Bruce, our incredible graphic designer, a happy autumn. It's always weird. They're turning the wheel the other way. I thought I would dress up like an egg for you. I don't know what I'm doing. Black just didn't seem to suit the occasion. So, how are you? Really happy to celebrate spring with you. Spring is my second favorite season. Summer is my first. Winter is my least, in case you were wondering, and you haven't listened to me the other 900 times I've told you how much I dislike winter. So by winter, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So out you go. As my grandmother would say, don't let the door hit you or the Lord split you. Bye-bye. And so soon it's all the bunnies, all the things, all the time. And I am here for it. Look, there's shitty downsides to every season, but can we just talk about the fact that winter has 18 downsides? Spring has pollen, but okay. At least we can go outside. We can put our feet on the earth. We can try to grow something. Winter ain't got an oven. If fireplaces, I do enjoy a nice fireplace, but I don't need it to be cold to do that. So I'm thrilled you're here. How are you? You like winter? Some people do. Look, tomato, tomato. I can't with the constant weather. Just like I can't live in the Pacific Northwest. I have huge admiration for all of you. But I have seasonal affective disorder, so I get sad when it's foggy. You're in a fake spring. It's still cold in New York. It honestly has been legit cold here. This was one of the first days where I was like, it really does feel like spring. Spring has sprung. So I'm going to show you what I have for our little ceremony. It's really cool. This is the first time doing, this year doing the high holidays, and today's a high holiday in our private container. So it's pretty cool to have all of you here. Is anybody new? I know a few people joined because they wanted to celebrate the equinox. So if you're new, I want to welcome you. And then for those of you who are, I never say old, but seasoned, experienced professionals, it is nice to have your company here again. So I have not cut my ribbon yet, but I do have some ribbon. I'm a ribbon-aholic. I really love ribbon. And there's a lady on Etsy who makes her own, she dyes her own silk ribbon. So I'm a big fan of hers. There's a little bit left of this situation, which I think is super springy. Of course, this to me is sexy, but it's not quite the season maybe. And I think this blue is really pretty too. So whatever kind of ribbon you have, and it can be anything. And it can also be like twine. Spring also governs, right? Like all natural materials. So it can be twine. It can be, for these gatherings, I think it's cool to work with what you have. I mean, honestly, if what you have is a cute scrunchie to wrap around your herbs, that's okay too. You don't have to have, Martha Stewart ribbon like I do, but I do enjoy ribbon. I like to wrap gifts with ribbon that people will reuse. So if you have ribbon that you really, really love, that's one thing to have. And then this is what's growing in my garden right now. Not everything's blooming. It's like I said, it's still been really cold, but the peaches have peachkins on them and the figs have figlets on them. And there's all kinds of little baby things on trees. So I have lavender, pink jasmine, and geranium. We're going to talk a little bit about flowers if there's time. I know I brought it in here. There's a deck of oracle cards.
On the top here.
Huh?
On the top.
Oh, yeah. I do have the Sage Goddess deck, the flower deck. So I thought I would pull a couple of cards. This Flora deck, we called it the Florical. Do you remember? I called it the Florical. That was me. We were trying to figure out what to call it when we were in the idea room, and I'm like, Florical? There was like a little bit of laughter in the room, and then everybody was like, yeah, it is kind of a flower oracle. So if you have the Floracle deck, we spent, Bruce was of course, the creative mind behind this deck. But we as a team, so he would give us like 3 or 4 different images for each flower, and we would go through and kind of go, yes, to more of her, less of her kind of thing to suit the energy. So it honestly, like, it's one of those things where I look back and just think we put heart, soul, I think this was 2 months to create this deck. So I'm glad you love it. And, it did sell out. So if you got it, you got something really special. And I only have one. So I treasure it. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, Bruce is a magician. So I'm going to start, as I like to, with my book. And I don't go to this book all the time, but the reason this book is really magical, and I always tell you the story, it's the book that my publisher didn't want to publish, and it ended up being one of the best sellers of the 4. So I was kind of like, because they were like, are people going to really buy a book that's all your blessings and your invocations and your like crafts and all those things? And I was like, yeah, I think people will buy that book. And they did. So, and it's color coded. This is called Book of Blessings and Rituals. It's color coded on the edges of the pages. So, because it's organized by month, so it's easy to find. And so there is a whole invocation for March. We're almost to April, so it doesn't quite feel like I want to read that to you, but there is an invocation for Ostara, which is where we are tonight. And that's on page 34. So if you have your book and you would like to follow along, feels like I'm back teaching English again, but you don't need to follow along. I would recommend just closing your eyes and let the words land. And it's cool because I wrote this book. Books are written 2 years before they're published, right? Door to door, it takes 2 years from the time I open the file and start the file on my computer to the time where it's in a bookstore near you. So books are never, if it says published in, that's not when it was written. So I'm trying to go back and see what the actual publication date was on this. Where is that? I don't even see it. Oh, here we go. 2019. So I wrote this book 8 years ago. Oh, how the world has changed. Yeah, that's great. I like that in a way because it stopped time. Books stop time. That's why they're so special. This book is how you found me, Lenny? How cool that is. I'm glad that some of you found me through the books. A lot of people found me through the Ultimate Guide to Chakras because that one ended up being, I think it's sold 300,000 copies now. It was published in like 6 languages. So it's cool when people travel to Canada because it was published in Quebec, French, and then it's through France in French. Quebec French is just a little different, and it's translated into Spanish, Mandarin, one of the Balkan languages, I can't remember. So anyway, there's quite a few of these books. Not this book. This book was translated into Spanish, I think. So the blessing and invocation for spring equinox. Welcome to our ceremony. Today is a calling to connect with all forms of new life. Ostara represents the reemergence of the goddess from the underworld, manifesting the physical rebirth of springtime. This is a time for celebrating. Recite the following blessing aloud to honor this new cycle of life. As the wheel of the year turns east, remember winter is north and we go clockwise, so we're going from north to east. As the wheel of the year turns east, the air warms and sweetens, and the sun dances in the sky. The ice of winter has become a flowing stream, nourishing emergent life. I call to you, Ostara, goddess of the dawn, to help my intentions grow and blossom like your wildflowers and your fruit. Bless me as I seek to cultivate my dreams with inspired vitality. I celebrate fertility of all kinds, and I honor my existence as a sexual being, capable of giving birth and sustaining life. With each new sunrise, Gaia finds her balance, the masculine and feminine united, entwined. And I watch now as light overtakes the darkness. All of life reaches now for the sky, for liberation, for expansion and healing. I sing the song of spring and kindle hope in my heart. I ask for blessings of fertility, not really, and beauty upon all of Gaia's children. And together we say, Amen, Aho. So it is. Real talk. Not to share TMI, but I had a cycle this week for the first time in a really long time, and I'm like, what part of this doesn't understand? I'm happy to be pregnant with ideas and inspiration, and but the off switch, like, how do we do that? If you have any really great ideas, I'm very open to that. There was a really funny episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show. I always share this story. It's appropriate for Ostara because the egg and eggs are her sacred symbol, eggs and bunnies. And so there was this episode of the Oprah Show, and I was watching it as a graduate student, okay? And she had a fertility expert on. This is back when Oprah was Oprah, right? So I think I was 24 at the time. And so the fertility expert had a big whiteboard, and she was drawing eggs, eggs. And she's like, here's what your eggs look like at 20 years old. And it was like shiny egg, nice egg. It had a happy face and everything. And she's like, here's what your eggs look like at 30 years old. And it was like, literally, this is what she did. It's funny. I'll show it to you because this is one of my iconic TED Talks that you may not have come to before. Here's what your eggs look like at 20. So nice. Here's what your eggs look like at 30. They're just a little weird. Here's what your eggs look like at 40. And here's what your egg looks like at 50. And it was literally like, it's a beautiful drawing. So it was like, so I'm sitting here at 24. I'm not married. So I'm somewhere between here and here already. And I want to have kids. And then I'm like, and she's like, this is 40. And I was like, so anyway, thank you, Oprah, and I remember her going, I'm here to tell you the things you don't want to hear. And I'm like, do you have any questions on my TED Talk? I will refer you to the comments. When I got pregnant with my daughter, I was 33. And in my chart, it said, you've heard this before, MOAA. And I was like, what's this patient MOA? Remember this? And she was like, oh, you're a mother of advanced age. And I was like, I just had a baby 2 years ago. And she's like, you weren't a MOA then. You're a MOA now. And I'm like, I don't want to be a MOA. And she's like, I don't make the rules. This was a whole thing. So anyway, welcome to Ostara, where we talk about eggs and fertility and uncomfortable medical diagnoses and all kinds of things. So it was just fine. I'm happy to report. But now people have babies in their 40s and 50s. And I'm like, what do you call them? Mothers of extinction? You're a Mo. Mother of dinosaurs, mother of dragons. Like, what do you call them now if they're in their 40s? So I think it's a new day. I think, 16, 17 years ago, we were is that what they call them? So anyway, cheers to all of us who did motherhood at the right time for us, or not the right time, never, which was right for some of us. Okay. Remember? Oh yeah. Geriatric, whatever. I wouldn't change my age at all. But I'm not here to procreate at this particular moment, although somebody needs to tell my body that. Okay. Fortunately, my partner's too old too. So that's fantastic news for all of us. You ready for tonight? So I want to tell you a couple stories, because that's what these high holidays are all about. every year I've been leading you through spring equinox ceremony for, I think this is year 14. So we've been doing this a long time. And then before Sage got us, I had an in-person community in San Diego called the Muse, and we were together for a few years. And I'm still in touch with everybody who was in that group on Facebook. We're all still friends. There was a private Facebook group for a long time, but we got together for every new moon, every full moon, every high holiday at my house in San Diego for 6 or 7 years. It was pretty cool. And a lot of the people in that group who came to my house were my students at the time. So we would be in our classes together during the day and in the evening, and then we would get together at my house, and before I had kids and after I had kids, when the kids were babies. So I've been doing this for a minute, leading people through ceremonies. Sometimes we would go to, we were really lucky because in Ocean Beach, you could burn fires. So we would go to OB, if you know that area. It's one of my favorite parts of San Diego, and do ceremony out there and burn things. And it was a rad time. So you're in Alpine, and Alpine is wholly sacred to me. I used to go out to Alpine with a small group and do ceremony because it's part of it is reservation land, and then it butts up against reservation land. So it's super sacred. So, yeah, no, isn't that cool? I wish I was still in San Diego. Life's not over yet. I love San Diego so much. I would consider going there one day, or at least having a bi relationship, because it's not that far away. But anyway, and I will tell you, it is my commitment here at some point to have in-person events again. And I really hope when that time comes that you can come out. It's easy to get a ticket to LA, and that's coming on the horizon. So yeah, if you're in North County, which is where I lived at the time I left, I lived in Rancho Bernardo. So, but I love it all. So cheers, and those days are coming. So let me back up. I have to tell you like a bigger picture story, and you have to remember all the stories line up, right? Easter is not the first sacred holiday of this time of year, although it's still really important to me. I still, practice the Christian faith in my own way, and was raised with Easter baskets and Easter bunnies, and then going to church and celebrating the resurrection of Christ. And so that's all very much still part of my consciousness. But my perspective on this month is also informed by the pagan roots of this time. It's informed by mythology. My dad worked really hard when I was small, so I did not get a lot of time with him. But when we did spend time together, it was always around myths and mythology, reading me Aesop's fables or telling me mythological stories. And so the first story I really remember him telling me was the story of Demeter and Persephone, right? And because that's the story of spring, and that's also the story of the fall. So what's cool is we live and we operate, right? Our community is bi-hemispheric. So we've got folks who are turning that great wheel toward darkness, right? And then we're turning it toward light. And these holidays are called the quarters, right? So the quarter points are just like they're north, south, east, and west. They are also winter, spring, summer, and fall. So we click the wheel every time we change seasons, and each of the seasons is aligned to an element. So winter is north and earth, spring is east and air, summer is south and fire, and then fall is west. And those also align to the times of day. So east is dawn. We literally have a new dawn. And of course, it's all happening. We are sandwiched between two of the major eclipses of this year. And we also are in a period where Mercury and Venus are retrograde. So we're not going to be able to communicate well right now. This isn't the cutest you're going to look this year. Venus goes retrograde every 18 months, and they say she takes your beauty with her. So it's a little hard to feel cute right now. It's like we're not usually, especially for women, but I think it sort of affects everybody because it affects the feminine. So it's not really male, female. It's more like your feminine doesn't feel, your feminine doesn't feel connected to its power right now. And then the communication is a little backward and a little wonky. So we're all trying to find our footing. And then we're between eclipses. So we don't even know what's right, true, up, down, in, out. Like we're just trying to find our feet. And then here we are with a complete change of season. So if you're feeling a little like, where are my feet? Where's my, I can't, I'm floating, it's universal right now. People may not be talking about it because people don't like to be vulnerable, but this is kind of a weird time. It will shift. We'll get through this new moon at the end of the month, and then next month is a clearer portal. April doesn't have eclipse activity. We'll see the forward motion of some of these outer planets, and it will get easier. So, and then I'll be coming live to you at the beginning of April with our astro forecast to get you situated. Extra super weird. But back to where we are now. So, and my dad tells the story differently than I tell it. And I'm sure you tell it, or you've been told it differently than other people tell it, but the upshot is the same, right? So the story in Greek mythology is that Demeter, who's the goddess of the earth, right? Ceres is her, which is Charis in Latin, is her counterpart in the Roman pantheon. So she, the goddess of the earth, right, doesn't like it when it gets cold, right? So, or the people themselves were like, it's getting cold. We're losing our crops. We had a good harvest or we didn't, but now it's going to be barren. What are we going to do? So they made meaning out of the gods and goddesses and sort of said, well, this is happening because. So Demeter, the goddess of the earth, the story goes that in the spring, before today, but not far before today, like, I guess in this mythological timeline, it would have been like yesterday. She's out, as she does, like tending the earth and her crops, and she has a daughter, Persephone, beautiful daughter, young. And Persephone is off chasing bumblebees and picking wildflowers, and this is harvest time, right? So let me make sure I'm telling you the story right. Yeah, this is harvest time. So she is out and gathering the crops, and her daughter's gathering flowers, and they're doing this together. So this would have been not the day before today, but the day before fall equinox. And so she all of a sudden can't find her daughter. She's looking, where's Persephone? And she can't find her. And so what happened to Persephone is she's out doing all these things, picking these flowers, and there's a handsome older man who's watching her, right? And has his eye on her and comes up to her and says, how are you doing, young lady? What are you doing, young lady? And she's like, picking flowers. This is my adaptation. And he's like, well, aren't you beautiful, kind of thing. And my narrative is, she says, well, thank you so much. And aren't you interesting? And he says pretty much like, would you like to come with me? I have this rad pad down in the middle of the earth where you can be queen. Here, you're just a princess, right? Here, you're just a goddess in training. But with me, you can be the queen, but you have to come and live with me. And so the story is that she goes, oh no, I'm so scared. And he's dragging her and she's like, no. The story I like is she's kind of like, I can be queen. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, I don't see my mom. Where exactly are we going? And so he takes her on his chariot and kidnaps her to the underworld, where she gets fed pomegranate seeds, 6 to be exact. And so she eats them and enjoys them. And again, you can make up stories about what that might have been like, come on, kiss the gun. And so she eats of the fruit. And then the moral of the story is she now has to stay with him for 6 months, 1 month for every seed that she ate. And so she stays with him and becomes his queen. And so Demeter finds out. And she loses her shit. Her daughter's gone. And I've always been told that she knew who took her, right? I don't know if she saw Hades with her in the field or she just sort of power of deduction. So she's pissed. And she's looking and she's looking and she's looking and she can't find her daughter. So she goes to the one any of us would go to. She goes to Hecate, who is the goddess gatekeeper of the worlds between the living and the dead. She holds the keys, right, to the upper world and the lower world. And so she goes to Hecate and says, I need help. Persephone is missing. And so Hecate is actually the one who negotiates the deal of how long Persephone has to stay with Hades, because she made an agreement. She ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Now, is it a coincidence that this is what Eve ate in the Garden of Eden and gave to Adam? You know, everybody always thinks it's an apple, but history tells us it wasn't, right? The Garden of Eden would have been in modern day Iran or Iraq, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers and what's known as the Fertile Crescent. There's some evidence that Eden existed, and that's where it was. Every single tree and fruit and flower that grows on earth can grow in that region of Iraq, Iran, what would have been Mesopotamia, right? Historically, I don't think of it as Iran and Iraq. I think of it as Mesopotamia, which is the first civilization. And those two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, were like arteries, and they fed the entire Middle East. So it's the only place that everything could have grown at that particular time in the planet's evolution. That's the only place Eden could have been. It couldn't have been in somewhere where there were apples, because apples could grow there, but apples require a slightly different climate than what would have sustained pomegranates. Okay. So anyway, as the story goes, we believe it's Eve tempted Adam with seeds of the pomegranate. And if you look at Middle Eastern culture now, also including Greek culture, Turkish culture for sure, the pomegranate is super sacred. Remember the pomegranates I got in Tucson with all the rubies? Yeah. So pomegranates, even today, are considered symbols of wisdom, knowledge, but also protection from dark forces that might come get you and drag you to the underworld. And the rule is just don't eat the seeds. My theory on this too is I think men like to watch women eat pomegranates. Unless you're really ladylike and you cut yours and you eat it with a fork, which, like, who the fuck does that? I literally like slice it 6 sides and suck it like my life depends on it. And then it's just down my face and all over everything. I think it's sexy. But yeah, if you're one of those people who's like, I'll just buy the container of seeds and eat it with a spoon, like, that's great. It doesn't taste like it does when you stick your face in it. As with most things in life. So anyway, long story short, so Persephone's down there. You can read the story that says she was suffering. Oh no, this terrible man, what has he done? You can read my side of the story where she's like, I'm queen now, mama, what you got? I don't want to be up there being second fiddle to you. I want to be down here being first fiddle to me, right? What happens when the 6th month is up from fall equinox? October, November, December, January, February, March. So this is the day night when Persephone returns to Demeter. Demeter celebrates by giving us life. So she puts fruit on the trees, she puts flowers on the vine to say her daughter's back. And that is the myth, as everybody tells it, of why we have spring and why we have winter and why there's 6 months between them and why the earth gets mad and then plunges us into darkness and cold, and then why the earth celebrates and gives us back life and light and beauty and all of those things. When Persephone comes home to her mother, and so then she returns to her rightful seat as her daughter and isn't queen of the underworld until fall equinox. Now, what's cool is we are all celebrating this at different times. So like tonight is Persephone's descent in the southern hemisphere, and it's her ascent, right, in the northern hemisphere. So we're all celebrating Persephone on this day. And we're all celebrating Persephone on September 2021 too. It's just the flip side of the wheel. So if you know that story, I hope it's still fun to hear it again for the 9,000th time. And if you're new to that story, then I hope it's fun to talk about and think about. So welcome in. Hi, Bex. Okay. It's a multi-napkin fruit. It is. And I actually still talk to people all the time who are like, I've never had a pomegranate. And I don't know why I feel like I have to take it upon myself, to pop that cherry, but And then when they're in season and you see the really big ones, like that's when you really want to get in there. But that's a meal. You know what I mean? Like a pomegranate done right. There should be nothing left. You should be covered in juice. And yeah. And then if you happen to take some of that juice and mix it with some tequila or some vodka or some even just lemonade, it's so good. So it's yummy, yummy, yummy. So that is that's spring and why we're here. Like I said, Ostara is the goddess. Eostre, right? So it goes from Ostara to Eostre to Easter. So that's where the word Easter comes from. And that's why we have eggs in baskets. And that's why we have bunnies and chicks. And that's why we have all the things. Because as you remember, Imbolc, which was the midway point between winter and spring, is literally means in the belly. So in February, everybody's pregnant. March, everything delivers, right? So now we've got bunnies and chicks, and I had both of my babies in March. My daughter turned 16 on the 15th, and my son's turning 18 on the 31st. So I was also accurate with my timing. And then the goddess conceives May, June, right? Between Beltane and summer solstice. That's when she conceives in what's known as the Great Rite. And so we have conception, we have gestation, right? We have birth, and those cycles get followed every year along those timelines. Babies and things. Okay, so what I want to do for tonight is I want to do just a little bit of traditional. I will talk to you later. Thank you. Thank you. I love you too. Happy spring. I feel like Hippo needs a flower crown or like a.
He got his bandana today.
Oh, does he? Okay, well. I'm gonna clear a little bit with some sage. Got myself one of my. I'm getting down there with my SG bundles. So, starting to really conserve my resources. So a little bit for you to clear. And you know, spring cleaning is a thing. We're doing a little bit of a cleaning, cleansing ceremony tonight. Can you not hear me? Let me know. Usually my sound is good, so let me know if you're having trouble with the audio. I can always raise my voice and use my teacher voice, but and then I'm just gonna take a little bit of that smoke over everything. I'm gonna take it behind me. On these big high holidays, you want to really cleanse and clear, and energy tends to get stuck behind us. So it's really important to give your rump shaker a little extra. Okay, good. Thank you for that. Okay. Sometimes it's good too, just to, some people like to put in their little ear pods or whatever, and if that's helpful too. Okay. Now, I have flowers, I have ribbon, and I also have this. So if you want to do everything I'm doing tonight, which is a pretty traditional cleansing ceremony in Mexico and in the Spanish-speaking countries, this is known as a limpia. Okay. What I'm doing tonight is a non-traditional limpia, because usually a limpia ceremony is done with, this is just distilled water. Because I wanted to show you a super simple way to do this that doesn't require alcohol, fancy tools, nothing. You have some herbs or flowers, you've got water, you probably have some kind of essential oil. I put 3 drops of, what did I put in here? Neroli. And I put 3 drops of, what else did I put in here? Rose. It smells like heaven. Maybe there's 4 drops of each, but not very much. Okay. So, but if you want to do a really traditional one, you know, then you can use things like tequila. It's traditionally what's used, because tequila is really revered, especially in Mexico, the agave plant, and the spirit of that plant is really sacred. So it's not meant to be something you drink. It's something that you can spray. Some people put it in a spray bottle. Some people just put it in a little container like this. They'll put their hands in it and kind of like flick it like that. But we're going to do something with the bouquet when it's done. Okay. So this is an alternative limpia ceremony, but for me, it's very spring oriented, is very spring themed, and I'm trying to use things that I think you probably already have in your collection. Okay. Did somebody say tequila? That's the traditional way of doing it. And so if you wanted to fill your bowl with tequila, and then what they do in a traditional Olympia ceremony is a lot of cleansing oils. Like they'll use lots of frankincense or, copal, copaiba. What else gets used kind of traditionally? Lavender will be used traditionally. A lot of times rose also in Olympia ceremony. So but I would just like to see you use what you have. And honestly, if all you have is water and some flowers and a ribbon, like you're golden. You don't need all the other things. You really don't. So, and sometimes it's just so rad to bring things back to basics. So if you have your lavender or your whatever you've got, I also mentioned, because I started talking about this at the full moon ceremony, if you were there, that we just went through. So I was talking then about, like, if you don't have anything and you want to do this, like, you can go to the grocery store, and you don't have to do it right this minute. Like, some of you might go shopping tonight and get yourself a bouquet of flowers. I love Trader Joe's for flowers because they have beautiful flowers and they're not expensive. You can do an incredible bouquet at Trader Joe's. You go to your regular grocery store and sometimes it's like $20, $25 for a really basic bouquet. But Trader Joe's at this time of year, where I live anyway, tends to have freesia and lavender and peonies and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, rosemary is fantastic. And rosemary is pretty traditional for Olympia because it's so cleansing and clearing. So yeah, blood red roses are awesome. I mean, again, that's going to represent the passion of Persephone and the mother's heart of Demeter. And, red is so often associated with Persephone's journey and Demeter's grief and Hades' power and lust. And you know what I mean? So red is very sexy for ceremonies in honor of those two. Karen said, I oversmudged. She hotboxed herself. Listen, girls, some days there ain't enough sage in this world to clear it. I would love champaka oil. I just don't have any right now, and it's not, my tree isn't blooming yet, but for sure. And then I have jasmine, so you could put jasmine oil in there. If you have champaka, where I am, it's too cold. My champaka tree blooms in June, May, sometimes if it's hot early. And then I had a ton of lemon blossoms on my tree, but I just don't like to not have my fruit, because every lemon on my tree gets eaten or used. So that never goes to waste. So I was like, oh, lemon blossoms. But then she works so hard on those little lemons. Yeah, no, I love Trader Joe's. I really, really do. I'm a big Trader Joe's fan. I always, no matter what, like no matter how bad inflation has gotten, I still feel like I get a good value when I go to Trader Joe's. I never feel like, wow, I paid all that and I got a quarter of a bag of stuff. How did that happen? So, yeah, and I'm raising two teenagers by myself who, especially my son, eats a lot. So it's nice to have a place where you can go and things are still reasonable. Okay, so I'm feeling like this ribbon is kind of the one I want to use, and it looks like my flowers. Look how pretty it is with the lavender. Just kind of looks like the lavender, doesn't it? So that's where I'm going to start. And so what I want to do, and what I like to do at spring, and even if you don't do the craft with me, I just think it's cool for you to maybe go out in your garden and just sit with the plants and the things that are growing, is take one plant at a time that you've chosen and celebrate the story of that plant. So this is pink jasmine, and I'm going to share the story of it with you. And again, some of these are stories, but the stories are so important. And each time you tell them, the people involved get to, live on again through the stories and the memories. So this is pink jasmine. If you've never smelled it, it's intoxicating. It's for me, it's my favorite of all the jasmine flowers for its scent. And it's, my whole house smells like this. The minute I walked in from the garden with this, the whole house and this is all I brought in. The other thing that's cool about these jasmine plants in my garden is my neighbors, and the same with champaka, my neighbors tell me I can always tell when your jasmine's blooming and when your champaka is blooming because I can smell it like 2 and 3 doors down, which I just think is really cool. So I love those heavy fragranced flowers. I'm so happy to share stories with you. So I fell in love with this this flower. My dad introduced me to it. He had a little tiny. My dad's one of those people who's guilty of buying the potted plants and then not planting them, and then they sit in the driveway. So eventually he does, but for like 2 years he didn't. So there was this, the black 1 gallon like Home Depot containers sitting in his driveway near his front door of this plant, and it would still bloom in the spring. And I would always be like, this was, 25 years ago or whatever. So I fell in love with it. When I bought my house here, my house was owned by people who never spent time here. I have a beautiful garden, but there was nothing there. There was the lemon tree, a couple of palm trees, like an iceberg rose plant, which I took out and replaced with a hybrid tea. But that's really all there was. And what she said is, it's a beautiful garden. We just never had time to tend it. I hope you will enjoy it. And so I did. I came into this house and I planted everything in small pots. So everything's grown and matured, but everything started really small. So my dad, when I bought this house, my mom gave me that Mother's Day a rose bush. Because that was always her gift to me for Mother's Day, and my dad planted jasmine. So I had in my garden, and you've seen it, a big arch, and it was, there had been something on it, but it burned. Every plant that the former owner tried to plant would grow a little bit, and then it would burn when it got too hot in summertime on the wrought iron arch, and then die. So she was like, I don't know what you're going to do with that arch, because she was such a cool lady, but she's like, every time I've tried to plant something, as soon as it gets hot, it burns on the arch and then it dies. So my dad was like, well, let me try the jasmine. So he got a little 1-gallon, very small pink jasmine plant and planted it on one side of the arch. When I take you out there now, you can see I think this was 7 or 8 years ago now. It is, so wide, I can't put my arms around it. It went all the way to the other side of the arch, completely wove its way around, attached itself to all the trees, and then put down roots and then regrew on the other side and then spiraled up the other side. So it is the whole thing. Like right now, it's all in bloom. And when you walk through it, it's like, it's incredible. So this is my dad's original pink sage, and it's a story of how much he loved helping me start that garden. This is also, actually, all of these are my dad's plants, which is really cool. He planted geraniums for me. In Greek culture and in Persian culture, which there's a lot of Persian people in my family through marriage. So like we celebrated Nowruz, and not every year, but there were 2 years when I went to our family's big Nowruz celebration, which is the coming of spring. It's the celebration of the equinox. My neighbors next door are the family of my best friend growing up, and they're Persian. And so there was a crew there today decorating for Nowruz. They do it's crazy. It's fun. I live vicariously through them. But anyway, so my dad planted geraniums because in Greek culture and in Persian culture, we cut the flowers off and we steep them as a tea, and it's thought to reduce the signs of aging and keep you young. So it's one of the like folklore, about, Persian women don't age or whatever because they drink geranium tea. So it's pretty yummy. And then my dad, there was nothing planted in the front yard of my house when I moved in. So my dad got 6 1-gallon lavender pots and put 3 on one side of my entrance and 3 on the other. And now they're like, again, I can't even put my arms around them. They're 4 feet deep and 5 feet tall, and everything is in bloom. So geraniums for beauty, fertility, jasmine for passion. A different kind of jasmine grew in Egypt, and the story there, right, about Cleopatra. She used to, before she would voyage to, engage in diplomatic relations with male rulers of other countries and civilizations. Like her famed romances, right? She would have them take this, she would distill the oil from the jasmine flowers, which was her favorite, and then she would have the sails removed from her ships and dipped in jasmine, and then reposition the sails on the ship. And so, because she wanted them to smell her before they saw her, she believed it greased the wheels for good negotiations. It's so hard when that happens. Before David and I got a divorce, I was like, we need to have the olive trees trimmed. And then I just didn't say anything else. So he hired someone, and God bless him. I mean, I don't think it wasn't intentional, but I came home from SG one day and I mean, they were, it looked like somebody was angry and took it out on my olive trees. I was like, have you ever seen somebody trim trees where they're just like, so anyway, my olive trees were gone, but they have since grown back and they look very nice. And I kept my shit together. So I'm putting it all together, but I was just like, you know, that moment where you're like, yeah, there's no point in crying at that point because that's not going to change what just happened. So I was just like, well, girl, we adapt and we overcome. And everybody kept telling me it's going to be okay, breathe, it will grow back. And they sure did. And they look quite nice now. So, but it's just, what we should talk about is how much it would take for me to ever let someone trim my trees again. I think I would get married again before I would let someone trim my olive trees. Okay, I'm trying to make this pretty. No, I really was. I was like, okay, everything's fine. What are you going to do? So I'm going to kind of tuck I want to make it pretty before I tie it. So I'm going to tuck my jasmine flowers in there and get my geraniums looking right. That feels good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, it's pretty. Okay, now this is where you're not just making a bouquet, you're making medicine. So we're going to tie, let me get to the end of my rope. Oh, bless it. There we are. Okay, so you want to leave a nice long length. I'm going to leave a nice long one. So you can tie a pretty bow. So, you know, enough. I usually leave too much because it doesn't look pretty when you can't tie a nice bow on it. So you need a couple yards of ribbon or whatever you've got. Now, I always like to tie things 3 times. That's for the past, the present, and the future. That can also be for what is behind me, right? What is in front of me? What is ahead of me? Blessings on the past, right? Thank you for all of the lessons learned and the love given and the love received, right? This is a gratitude exercise as much as it is a clearing and a blessing. So with our first tie around, and we don't need to, I was going to say, should we open a circle? But we really don't need to. I mean, this is just it's more of a sacred craft than a ceremony at this point. So I don't think I'm going to open a circle for today. Okay, you can if you want to. And I feel like this room is a living circle, so so many circles have been cast here. But if you want to, why not? Probably don't need one, but it never hurts. Okay, so first circle around is for what is behind us. And I really want you to think about that as we do this. Some things can't come with us. No. Some things have to stay in winter. The people you lost, And my heart's with you. Can we just take a breath? There. Me too. The experiences that are complete in whatever form have to stay there. And let's just inhale. Yeah, it's true, right? A lot of loss. Look, I mean, people, places, family home for Hillary, right? I know it's like these crazy, like when the fires happen and, we live here and a lot of us were touched, I wasn't touched directly, but a lot of people I know lost everything they had. People I've known for a long time. And someone on my own team, right? So, and then it's like, it's not on the news. So people are like, oh, oh yeah, those fires I remember. And it's like, we're all still living it, right? What is staying in winter? And let's just, as we honor the rest that must happen for those things and people, we tie as a gesture of gratitude. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Marsha's baby boy, Blue. My dogs are my soulmates, right? So totally with you, feel you on that. Maggie passed in January. Belinda had a relationship end. Mm-hmm. Me too. Right? But thank you. Okay, present moment. What is arriving? What's arriving? What's knocking on your door? What's new? I got some things. Do you have some things that are arriving that are new? They're like these flowers. They're like, I know you're sad, but look at me. Look. That's literally what nature's saying right now. I know it's been cold and I know it's been hard, but look what I made you, right? And you can't help. Spring is that moment of like, oh, nature, So as we tie, and you want to tie tight enough because these are going to dry and you don't want it to fall apart, but not so tight that you're like cutting off the life force of these things, right? So yeah, I love that. What are you calling in? What's arriving? What's breathing? I know you're breathing, but what's breathing you right now? What's here? What has decided to stay? What can you celebrate, right? In this moment, a new home, right? Possibility, love. Mm-hmm. Me too. The sweet and the bittersweet, yeah. And then the last one, your garden. Mm-hmm. Weight loss. Oh yeah. I've lost a little weight, which is kind of good. A little of my stress, sadness weight. That's how I know I'm healing, right? For me, I'll tell you something. You literally, if I'm in stress mode, it doesn't matter if I look at food and go and eat air. I will either not lose weight or gain it. Like literally, you can be like, here's some cheesecake, and I could be like, and gain a pound if I'm stressed out. And then if things are ready to be released, it almost doesn't matter what I eat, I lose weight. But that hasn't happened in a long time. So that's how I know I'm moving into a different stage. Does anybody eat air and still gain weight? Literally, I'm like, so shitty. These are the things people don't tell you about. People think when you gain weight that you're eating all this food. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I wish I had that to say. Okay. So anyway, I'm glad I'm not alone. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. And then the last thing is what's arriving, what's ahead, right? What's not, and I know it's cortisol, little shitty cortisol. what's ahead, not what's behind, not what's here, but what's right there. That's like, you can't, it's right there. It's not in your hand yet, but it's like literally like it's 2 steps ahead, it's 5 steps ahead, it's 6 months from now, right? Problem is you don't know yet fully, but you have to be present to it anyway, right? So, financial freedom, better health, happier, happy, right? Not eating air. Thank you for all the blessings that are already on their way. And just because it's weird when I'm doing stuff and you can't see what I'm doing. So all of that. Where are my scissors? There they are. You want to, leave enough room on the other end of things to tie a pretty bow. I'm just cutting it. I'll trim the ends nicely when I'm done. So with the knot, you seal, right? You bind the energy. I like to always put my breath there first. Because that's your life force, baby. Here she is, Miss America. Not really. Okay, this little stitch is bothering me, so I'm going to cut that off. It's messing with my game. Sorry, you are. And then most people, when they tie a bow, think of it as above, so below. So as above, so below. And then the long ends become as within, so without. And I do like a longer tail on my ribbons. I don't like little short bows when I'm making a bouquet. I just think it's pretty to let it hang down. So, yeah. And then I fold my ribbon in half. I'm sure you do this trick too. You fold it like that in half, and you cut at an angle up, and it makes like the little points. So, and they don't have to be even. I think it looks better when they're not even. So it looks like that. Isn't it pretty? Yeah. And the other thing that does too is if you have ribbon that's likely to fray, like have the little funky edges on it, when you cut it like that, it doesn't fray. So it stays a little bit neater on the ends. And like I said, I like that it's not even. Okay, yay! So that's our Ostara bouquet. And then where can I put this so you can see? Okay. So in a traditional Olympia ceremony, you take your fresh herbs. I did this in the Yucatan when I was there. We just worked with copaiba, frankincense. He had a little lavender oil, and it was water from the cenote that we used. I think there were cacao beans in the water too. See if you have cacao pods, you can put them in there too. So what you want to do is dip your bouquet into the scented oil. You don't have to dip the whole thing in, but you just want to get it a little bit wet. And it smells so good. I wish you were here just for the smell. And then you want to do your arms primarily. So, and then you want to flick it off the end. And with that, you are cleansing, clearing, releasing. It's kind of cool. I can see the oils on my skin. And then dip again. And again. And then just off the tips of your fingers. Cleansing, clearing, releasing. And it's the spirit of the plant that you're working with. And then if you want, try not to show you my underwear, although, I'm thinking of you with Karam among friends, same thing. Soles of your feet, cleansing and blessing your steps. It feels good too. It's really sweet to do this for someone else too. And then you want to bring it to your heart, calling in all the medicine of the plants to your heart space. So good. Deep inhale. Good deep exhale. Inhale. What are you calling in? What are you releasing? And again, I want to take my time here. People do this at wedding ceremonies and at funerals. I had a friend who passed away 10 years ago, and all of her women were there with her, and they did this. And then she was cremated with the flowers from the ceremony. So this is both a, it's a doula exercise. It can also be done at birth, for a baby that's just been born, right? For the mother's, uterus. And when I've read about this being done in Mexico for women who are in labor or just had babies, rose oil is always used because, and I learned this from one of my shaman teachers, rose oil is actually used when women are in difficult delivery. It can stop hemorrhaging, and it's very powerful, especially as a uterine kind of tonic. So rose is almost always used when it's for birth and for delivery of a child, especially if it's under duress. And then the last thing I like to do is take the oil that's already on it. So, not a redip, but what's already there, and just a little to the third eye to bless, cleanse, clear, renew, restore your vision for the year. So may you see beauty, may you create beauty, and may you walk in beauty. May your footsteps be blessed. So you've covered the whole channel. It's an offering to Great Spirit. Thank you for the beauty you create. Thank you for helping us to stop on this holy day and appreciate it with each other. Thank you for helping us to be inspired to create ceremony. And so just, as if you were here. If you were here, I would be doing it to you, right? I would just be going down your back with the flowers. I would have you stand with your arms outstretched, and I would go down your arm and over your fingertips and back up into the middle of your back. And I would go down your left arm and back up and bring it back. And then I would have you turn around and open your arms to me, and I would bring it to your heart, press it here, right? I probably would go down and just, again, brush your feet, dipping and brushing and dipping and brushing. And then I would bring it back to your heart. I would take some of the oil here and I would touch it to your third eye, just like I'm doing right now. See the yellow from the rolling and the rose? See it? My hand isn't just polka dotted. My arms are all kind of nerolied and rosed, but it's good for you. See? You can see the little kind of orangey, and it just smells so good. And then this, I used distilled water because I thought, well, this is cool. I love the smell of it. So I'm going to put this in a little bottle and keep it on my altar. Never throw away. When you make potions, and even if it's just blessed water, don't throw that away, right? That should go in a little bottle on your altar so that before the rest of the ceremonies for the whole season, before your new moon and before your full moon, just a little bit at your third eye, a little bit on your hands to bless your hands, a little bit at your feet just to bless your steps, right? And so especially if you work with other people, this is a good one just to keep. And then if you lost any of your flowers, this is the other thing. So I don't know if you can see. But this is a great just to float see the little flowers that fell off while I was crafting. So you don't want to lose those. So everything goes in. Isn't that sweet? Yeah. And the petals and everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. How long it took these plants to bloom. Once you realize that, it changes your perspective. The citrus trees take 9 months. They have a human gestation cycle. So when you eat that orange or that lemon real quick and you throw the peel away, it's like I can just feel the tree going, I worked really hard on that. Just for you to suck it down like it didn't matter. She's like my mom or, our mothers who were like, I slaved all day for that meal. Because, she did. So that is a beautiful offering right there. Right? That's what spring is all about. That is what spring is all about. Okay. So doesn't get much springier than this. That's it. Oh, I love that. Vanya said, it's good to see you, Vanya. She said, I remember as a kid watching my grandma pick flowers, put them in a big pot of water, and make us wash our face in it. It was Olympia ceremony. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, ylang ylang, you beautiful eucalyptus, so cleansing. I mean, you're Sharon. You're kind of taking it in a traditional direction, which I really, really like because again, there's never a wrong time to use some of the more cleansing, purifying, healing oils, right? So it's just whatever your soul feels drawn to. My mom knew that I loved orange blossom, so it always feels like I'm with her when I'm using orange blossom. I love it. I was looking at, I love Pam Anderson. She does that Monday poetry, if you subscribe to it, and I have. And I go back to them and reread them sometimes. And I was rereading one. If you want me to read it to you, I can pull it up and read it to you. It's really quite lovely. Maybe I'll end tonight that way. But they're her words. And the last line of the poem is, love is in the batter we make pancakes with. Right? It's in the batter. And the batter is what you have, what your hands choose, what you put together. It is hard to grow spikenard. It's not impossible. It's like everything else, right? It's got to tend it. Like patchouli is hard. I've tried growing pagostemon like 4 times and it's temperamental, but I don't have the humidity here in Southern California that you need. I have some. I'm on the ocean, but it's not enough, so it gets too cold too. So spikenard, you can do it, but you just have to watch it. It wants hot, hot, hot and dry. So God, Goddess, and Source of all that is, see us at this turning of the great wheel of time. Thank you for the blessings of winter, the lessons we learned. What a cycle, huh? Can you believe it? That cycle complete. A new cycle begins. And so we greet you here, Great Spirit, at dawn. A new day, a new circle is opened. so many ways, this is the start of the year. Please bless our new creations, new visions, new possibilities, and the doorways as we open them. Help us to remember what has come and gone with gratitude. Please help us appreciate what is here without so much of a longing for what was and too much anxiety, curiosity, anticipation of what will be. This here now moment is pretty good. And thank you for blessings and abundance and beauty that's already on its way to us from the four directions, arriving across space and time in alignment with your plan for us. Our higher purpose. Thank you, Marlene. Our reason for being. The ways in which we can help and support and nourish and love each other with the time we have. Yes, thank you for patience, for perseverance, for a sense of connection, commitment. Thank you for saying yes in all the ways that you do. I keep saying yes with you. So, to all the ways in which we are saying yes, I honor you. And the divine in me sees the divine in you with gratitude. And together we say, Amen. Aho. And so it is, as it has always been, is now, and will always be. Cheers. And since we opened it, we have to close it. What we begin must be completed. Not true. It's bittersweet this year. But the sweet's pretty sweet. The bitter's pretty bitter, but the sweet's pretty sweet. So usually these ceremonies are about an hour long, and one day we're going to talk about what happens with time when we're together. Because I'm always like, oh, I don't even think that's going to take an hour. And then I'm like, shit, I haven't even pulled any cards. It's legit, though. It's a thing. Would you like me to pull a couple cards? What I will say is this: if you need to be done with me, I won't take it personal. But if you'd like to stay for a little bit, I'd love to pull some cards, and then I want to pull a collective card for all of us for spring, to kind of give us a sense of, the flower medicine. Again, this is the Florical deck. You can't get this. It's Sage Goddess. But they were gone. Like before Sage Goddess was gone, they were gone. So I don't have it right now. fun to bring it back one day, wouldn't it? So, Corinne Cowling, hi, darling. What's your flower medicine for spring? Poppy, your dreams are speaking to you. Within their gentle guidance lies the map to your soul's deepest desires and untold wisdom. By the way, I think we did decide, seriously, did we not, that are you guys signed up yet for Gem Journey, which starts next week? I think we're doing the live crystal readings tomorrow night. Is that official? In our Facebook group. So if you haven't signed up yet, they'll put the link up for you to register for Gem Journey. We still have a couple of the little stone duos and perfume if you want them. I do recommend, if you order the stone duo and the perfume, we will ship it to you tomorrow and you'll get it before class. After Monday, it'll be a little iffy. So if you do want the stones, I think there's a few still on Etsy if you want that. So I know, I'm so excited too. I haven't done crystal readings in such a long time. So it's tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And that's Friday night, which is 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm really hoping that time works for everybody and we can all be together. Okay, Elizabeth Moore, hi. What's your flower medicine for spring? I love this card so much because I just think she's so lovely. The foxglove. Isn't she beautiful? Your senses are opening to whispers of ancient wisdom. Feels super ancestral to me. Allow hidden truths to surface, offering guidance and illumination on your spiritual journey. You like the Pangea in a larger bottle? I can do it. I can do it. Was that vanilla the most insane thing? It's a new distiller. I didn't have them when I had Sage Goddess. It's insane. It's legit. I was just like, oh my God. Literally every drop I was like rub it all over my clothes. Okay, Luna Blue, what's your plant medicine for spring? Chrysanthemum. It's one of the flowers of immortality. Time stoppage. Timeline hopping. Move forward with confidence, courage, and the unwavering assurance that you are surrounded by a shield of protection on your journey, which is true. By the way, did you see my glitter? I need to stop putting extensions in my hair, but I thought they were kind of fun. You want everything serum in a bigger bottle too? Okay, I'll work on it. I know. Hi, Shelly. She said, this spring baby would love a card. This one's for you. So what's your plant medicine for spring, your flower medicine for spring? Really? I mean, I love it. You're protected, you're divine, you're immortal. It's one of those like, remember who you are cards, right? Time has no meaning. Okay, Belinda. Flores. Her last name means flowers, which is so awesome. What's your flower medicine? Since you are all of the flowers. Violet. I love violets. Don't you? The key to attracting what you desire begins within. Align your thoughts and actions with your intentions and watch as your manifestations unfold. It's fun. It's true. Okay, Lori Eller would like a card. What's your flower? I really wish you were in this room because the smell in this room right now, it's insane. But I can't recreate it. It's the pink jasmine and I can't distill that. So it's like, oh, I can't even really come close. Hyacinth, which I love too. True liberation comes from knowing that your spirit is unboundless. untethered, and forever free. I think it's supposed to say boundless, and that's the first time I caught that. I don't think unboundless is a word. If I ever print it again, I'll correct it. But you got the gist, right? You've pulled the Champaka the last couple of times. That's cool. Champaka is so royal, you know? She's just like, she makes you sit up a little straighter in your seat. Christiana, what's your flower medicine? I love geranium, especially in light of the story I told you. Every time I think about geraniums, I think about my aunt, my Persian aunt, who is truly one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. She's 80 years old. She looks like we could be sisters. And her steeping geranium tea is just a forever memory for me. Release the weight of worry from your shoulders, for in this moment, you have the strength to navigate whatever comes your way. Okay, and I'm gonna, let me go, spirits like go up, up, up. Susan Moore, plant medicine for spring. Is this fun? I really felt called to pull out this deck. It's been a minute, you know, it's getting easier for me to go back and work with some of these things. It was hard for a minute. So it's really nice to just be with you and pull these cards and keep it simple for spring, you know? So Plumeria for you. Susan, this is your card. Embrace the transient nature of life as a reminder to cherish each moment and find beauty in the ever-changing rhythm of existence, right? Sort of like everything's cyclical, right? Everything is connected. Okay, Michelle Martinez. What's your flower medicine for spring? Remember, this is your flower for the whole season. So it's the medicine of the season ahead. Here we go back to hyacinth. Liberation comes from knowing that your spirit is boundless, untethered, and forever free. And your spirit really is. It's your body that isn't, right? Your body is like achy breaky, itchy bitchy, right? But your soul isn't. Your soul is this like untethered, flowing, flying, right? Let's see. Victoria Laconi. Let's see what your flower medicine is for spring. Anybody never had a card pulled before? That's always kind of fun too. Hydrangea. Every thought is a brush stroke on the canvas of your reality. Isn't she pretty? Look at her. She's so sweet. There's like she's not smiling, but it's like her eyes are smiling. There's something magic about her eyes. We all agreed. Embrace the power of intention, for your thoughts hold the key to shaping a life that aligns with your deepest desire. And she's like, It's like she's got a secret. Oh, this is fun. I'm so glad I asked, because some of y'all are not going to tell me, like, by the way, I've never had a card read before. That's your first card for Victoria? Yay! All right, I'm gonna go down the line. So Michelle Smith. You're so welcome. Michelle Smith, hi. What's your flower medicine for spring? Carnation. Did I pull 2 cards for you? Oh, I did. You got to read both when you pull both, right? So open your heart and let the flames of passion turn old wounds into sparks that ignite a love both fierce and boundless. There we go with the boundless word again. And then gardenia. Find peace within yourself and let it lead the way to abundance and prosperity. In your inner calm, you create the conditions for success and well-being. So calm and passion. Open your heart. This is rad. Okay, Mary Sue Morgan. Hi, Mary Sue. What's your flower medicine? Foxglove. Love it. Your senses are opening to ancient wisdom. Allow hidden truths to surface, offering guidance and illumination for your spiritual journey. Carissa Marie. I'll get to as many of you as I can. But then next time, yeah. I like for everybody to have one at some point. Chrysanthemum. Wow, we really like. Do you see the rotation where these specific cards obviously have a lot of meaning for us? Move forward with confidence, courage, and the unwavering assurance that you are surrounded by a shield of protection on your journey. And like I said, remember about chrysanthemums too. It's like timelessness, youthfulness. Age doesn't apply to you, right? There's something deeply vital about you. Okay. And then Marsha Crawford. Hey, Marsha. Your flower medicine for spring. Lilac. I just made a perfume with lilac today for the surprise bags for Lair. I'm going to tell you this. I made a blend called Maria in honor of Maria Callas with the notes. I did a ton of research because I'm kind of obsessed with her. I always have been. I researched what perfumes she wore and then what notes were in those perfumes, because the perfumes that she wore are really the original versions. They don't make them anymore. So I took all the essential oils from my research and made this blend, and I have like this much of it. So there's hardly any, but if you got a surprise bag, I'm putting a bottle of Maria in there, and it's intoxicating. It has orris root, it has lilac, it has narcissus and orange blossom, ylang ylang, a little bit of clove, touch of carnation. Did I say rose? What else is in there? Oh, lemon. I know. It's like I've never made a perfume that smells like that, but I had so little of everything. So it's like literally like the bottom of a little bottle. So I don't think it's going to see the light of day. But lilac medicine is open your heart, for in doing so, you'll embrace and experience the radiant glow of love. Allow it to illuminate your path, bringing joy and connection to every facet of your life. It feels really important for you. Okay, so for everybody who's here, and like I said, if you didn't get a reading tonight, but you haven't had one before, just know you're on deck. I'm getting to you, whether it's in the gem readings or future wax and wane session or whatever. So I'm going to do a collective pull. So this is for me too, our moderators, everybody who's here. If you're watching the replay, this is for you too. So what's our collective flower medicine for the rest of March, all of April, all of May, and the first 2/3 of June till we turn the wheel again for the collective? I figured carnation. There she is. Open your heart and let the flames of passion turn old wounds into sparks that ignite a love both fierce and boundless. And she's like, I'm going to do it. She looks like Persephone, doesn't she? She does. Well, that was fun. Did you have fun? This whole, honestly, I guess 2.5, 3 years, although really this last year for me has been about getting back to basics, and it's been good. Been really, really good. It's been my life had gotten to a point where it was just so complicated and everything was complicated. And so it's been really fun to bring things back down and see what magic I can make without overcomplicating things. And so I think nights like tonight, this was really special to me. But, this was just what I had in my garden, what I had in my, oil cabinet, what I had in my ribbon drawer, right? So I think there's just really sweet medicine around what matters is the time we have together and the connection that we have and the wisdom that we can share with each other. So thank you for kind of going on that ride with me too. And I hope it's inspired you to really appreciate and enjoy what you have and to be here now. And thank you to those of you, like I said, I've seen you this year, right? I know that you've, like me, you've gone through a whole cycle and lost and gained and found and lost again. And today's just a reminder You know, the sun will rise in center sky again. It will. It's on its way. And today's our first step in that direction. So cheers. Aho. What a journey we are on. And if I could, I would bottle this and send this to you. But I'm telling you, make your own. I do have these little bowls. I got them for the lair. I kept one of them. I thought that's a sweet little, I don't know what they're actually, they're like little compote bowls, but aren't they cute? They have like little footers on them. So I'll have these on Monday at our lair sale if you want a little mixing bowl. I got them at a really cool estate sale, and I was like, I don't know what that person used them for, but I thought it was really pretty. So get yourself a little ceremonial bowl, or if you have one in your collection, like an old sugar bowl or something, and make that your Ostara water bowl. Isn't that cute? I know, they're so happy. The birds are happy. I got to make better water for my hummers. It's on its last day, so I got to take that down tonight and fix that. But thank you to our moderator team. Super grateful for you. I hope it's a beautiful springtime evening for you wherever you are. I love that it's 6:35 and it's nowhere near dark, so I'm going to celebrate that. But truly, I raise my glass to you. My is this Diet Coke or Dr. Pepper? It's Coke Zero. I raise my Coke Zero to you. And just want to say I'm proud of you. I really am so proud of you and love you and grateful and happy that we get to do this together. And cheers. It takes a village to do this, but we do it with so much joy and so much gratitude. It's crazy. So thank you to all. Thank you to the guides and Great Spirit and to all of nature coming alive. A deep bow tonight. All right, cheers. So I will see you on Monday. It's Thursday. I sometimes need people to tell me what day it is and where I am because I'm hormonal. So today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. It's interesting, isn't it? And then Monday we have a lair live at 4 p.m. It's our Easter edition. And do you know what I have? I went to 2 estate sales where they were collectors and crafters of vintage Easter decor. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but oh my God, I've got cool stuff. So I have Easter and spring clothing and all kinds of things and crafts and Easter decorations and the little footed bowls and all kinds of cool stuff to show you. So that's at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Monday. So I think that's the most important thing for you to be thinking about for now. And I can't wait to see you then. And then, of course, next Thursday, Gem Journey begins. That's my brand new class on gems and minerals. And that's open for registration if you haven't registered yet. So you want to go to magicalentrepreneur.com and then click on Gem Journey, and it'll take you to that page and you can register. And that's going to be a really amazing experience too. I can't wait to journey with you with our stones. And that's been a minute too. So, and then, I'm sure there's more. There's always more. But those are the 2 things I would like for you to mark on your calendar, and I'll look forward to seeing you then. So Monday, we're going to layer it up. In the meantime, have a beautiful Friday, rest of your weekend. We love you so much. We'll see you soon.